everybody. I know a lot of people, a lot of times Scott and I will be talking to you about, home ownership, people that own homes, what they can do to get ready to sell. Today we want to talk a little bit about how to make your dream of Arizona home ownership a reality. Maybe those people that are first-time home buyers, people that own a home, maybe they have friends, family, coworkers that are looking to buy.
And I think that a lot of people that listen to our podcast can share this with people and let them know, hey, this is something that is a part of life. It's something that is a part of your retirement. It is a huge piece of building wealth in Arizona. And home ownership, yeah. So the Harris Poll survey just looked at everybody in 2022 coming into 2023. They found that 8 in 10 Americans think that buying a home is a reality that they need in their life. 8 of 10 Americans.
That's awesome.
But we're not there as far as home ownership. But they found that 28 million plan to buy in the next 12 months.
That's a lot of people.
Plan to buy.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is that you have to create a plan. If you're looking to purchase a home, if it is a goal of yours, whether it's in the next few months or even the next few years, is creating that plan and getting prepared so that when you are ready to buy a home, that way you can go out there and succeed. Yeah. That's what we always talk about is so create the plan. So, there are always hurdles to purchasing a home, but how many homes are going to be sold in 2023, do you think?
The experts are saying about 5 million homes. So 28 million people plan to buy, 5 million probably are going to buy, and there's a lot of things that come into that as we've talked about.
So we're talking to 5 million people here.
We're looking at about 5 million in the next year that will actually buy. And the same survey looked at people and they said, what is preventing you?
So the challenge is in buying a home, right? What were the top two?
34% said they didn't have enough money saved up.
Okay. Down payment, I'm assuming?
I think that's where people are thinking. Okay. Yeah, because I don't think most of those 5 million are probably not buying cash.
Well, and just to add a point on that, right now there was a lot more cash buyers, maybe one out of every 4 during 2020 and 2021. Currently, it's gone back to more typical where you see 1 out of every 6 home buyers as an all cash buyer.
Yeah, and we got to keep in mind that, a couple of years ago, we saw such a much bigger presence of iBuyers and institutional buyers. And now we're seeing a lot of people that are buying are people that are looking for a residence.
Yeah, you got 1 out of 6 that are cash. That's 16%. So you've got 84% of buyers need some type of financing, some type of down payment. Where's that down payment coming from? So let's talk about down payment then. So before we get to point number 2, so down payment, and again, we've talked about this before other podcasts, is a lot of potential home buyers think that they need 20% or more for a down payment. It's just not the case.
No, and we see of all buyers, 16%.
Right.
Is the down payment. First time buyers, 7 to 9% in that range.
Yeah. So of the purchase price.
Of the purchase price.
We're talking percentages. So if they're only putting 7 or 9% down on average for their new home, so if you're buying a $400,000 home, you're probably putting average down payment is probably about $32,000. That's still not the minimum requirement. So if you are a first-time home buyer in the U.S., you can buy a home putting as little as 3% down. Now that's just a conventional buyer.
And a lot of people cite FHA as being the low point at 3.5%.
No.
But there are a lot of conventional programs at 3%.
Absolutely. And now, of course, there are VA, which we've talked about as well.
USDA.
USDA programs which go up to 100% financing. USDA is something that's more for outlying rural areas.
Yeah, the address is going to be important on that one. And VA, your service is going to be important. So there's qualifying factors on both of those.
But still, 100% financing. So back to the conventional buyer, 3% down minimum for in a lot of cases for a first-time home buyer. And first-time home buyer, again, let's talk about that. If you haven't been on title to a property in the last 3 years,
you're a first-time home buyer.
You're a first-time home buyer. So great, they put that qualifier in there.
Which is good.
3 years, I guess that's your expiration date, but that's great. FHA 3.5% down, and even if you're not a first-time home buyer and can't do 3%, or you don't want to qualify using FHA for whatever reason, even conventional you don't fit in that 3-year window, 5% is the minimum down payment. So again, kind of just alleviating that pressure of feeling I've got to have 20% down. I've got to have $80,000 of a $400,000 home saved. Well, maybe 12 to 20,000 is a little bit more obtainable, a little bit easier.
And if you're starting a new lease, you're a big way there. If we're talking about a $2,500 a month lease, let's look at first and last month, security deposit. We're looking $7,500 or more in just your startup costs with a new lease, and that lease is going to be for a year. Your startup costs for a home that you're going to have for, as long as you want to live there, a little bit higher, but you're on your way there already with a lease. You're not that far off, and we do have some grant programs that are available as well.
Yes, there are, and that's something that people want. There are sources for down payment. There are grant programs or down payment assistance. And again, you typically don't have to be a first-time home buyer for those programs. They're a lot of times referred to as first-time home buyer programs. They're not. They're just down payment assistance programs, grant programs that are available. And also the sources of your down payment can come, it doesn't have to be just your checking or savings account. It can come from a retirement account, your 401k. It can come from an IRA account, an individual retirement account. It can be a gift. If you have a generous family member who maybe wants to help you buy your first home, a portion or all of that down payment can be gifted to you.
It's got to be a gift.
It's got to be a gift, which is it's fine. But again, our point is that sometimes when you express that you want to buy a home, there are other outlets or sources for that down payment because it can feel like a lot of pressure. 20%, okay, we've alleviated that down to 3 to 5% on average is what people are going to be able to put down. And then the source is, I've got to have everything in my Bank of America or Chase checking account. Not the case. There are multiple sources that we can help you with to alleviate that. So down payment.
That was a big piece of it. Also, a lot of people said, so 30% said that credit was the issue.
Okay. Well, let's talk about your credit score. I mean, again, a lot of times, just kind of going with what I see out there as a lender, is people think they've got to have perfect credit to qualify to buy a home. Not the case. In most cases, as long as you have a 620 or higher credit score, and again, there are other programs, but let's work with that range right now. So you have a 620 or better credit score, you can most likely qualify to purchase a home. Most FHA programs, you have to have a minimum of a 620 credit score to qualify for. And also with Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, the conventional bodies, a 620 or better credit score to qualify for those. So you don't have to have perfect credit. If you've had a collection, if you've had a bankruptcy in the past, that doesn't eliminate you from being able to own a home because, again, a lot of times people that maybe had a bankruptcy due to medical or health or a life event, they think that they have to wait 7 years for that to drop off their credit. I hear that quite often. Not the case. 2 years from your discharge date can get you in there. But the point is, you don't have to have that 760 or 800 FICO score to qualify.
No, and you'll have access to more programs. You'll have better rates and that. But even though you're looking at a 30-year note, that stuff is somewhat still temporary because there's opportunities to refinance when your credit comes to a different point, when you have some extra resources to make some changes.
Sure. And just to kind of go back on the credit, I mean, if you want to improve your credit score while you're waiting to buy a home, there are things that you can do. I mean, number one is pay your bills on time. I mean, I know it seems kind of simple, but really that is the largest factor that feeds into that algorithm that Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion use to boost your score is just making on-time payments. And the more that you have, the longer history that you have helps as well. So if you only have a 6-month history, your score might be a little bit lower than somebody that has a 2-year history. And again, on-time payments, length of history, and mix it up a little bit.
And if you are getting into the habit of paying on time, you can then get some extra credit items, a credit card or, with a store or something, and then just pay it off each month. Use the card, pay it off each month on time, and that's going to diversify and show that you are responsible, not just with a car payment and a Visa bill, but also with these
car
other
payments
things.
are great because, a lot of times people will make those on time because they don't want Big Jim to come with his tow truck and take it out of the driveway. But to your point on the credit card, I coach a lot of people to help them build their credit or improve their credit score. Again, something that you mentioned, getting kind of a low limit credit card, or maybe a credit card that you have a lower balance or no balance on, things that you would normally pay cash for.
And we do want to use them.
You've got to use it. Unfortunately, it's like a muscle. If you don't use it, it's going to atrophy. It's going to go just like your credit score. If you don't use it, then it's not going to continue to build or maintain your current score.
Yeah, I remember on it was one of our first purchases. The lender called and said, "What is this card?" And we said, "Well, it was from this, that, or the other." "You guys don't use it?" "No, but you have it." "Yeah." "Just go down to the Circle K and buy a Slim Jim, and then go pay off the card."
Yeah, and that's
then it took us from one loan program to another just by doing that.
Yeah, it's anything that you would normally use cash for, your daily trip to Starbucks for $4 or $5 at the end of the month, pay off your.
But the key is that first point: we want to pay our bills on time.
Absolutely.
And as many credit items as now, you're not going to be able to pay off your car each month, but if on revolving credit, if you can not carry a balance, it's going to not only do better for your credit, but it's also going to do much better for that big item of saving for that down payment, because we waste so much money if we're putting things on credit cards and not paying them off. We're just paying interest on, and it's a high interest because it's unsecured.
I mean, forget mortgage rates being in the sixes. I mean, when you're talking an average
which is crazy.
APR of 19%.
People are uneasy about mortgage rates where they're at, but they're okay paying in the teens on and even 20s on a credit card.
Absolutely. See it all the time. But those are some great points. I mean, again, mix it up, installment debt, pay on time, your credit card debt. Get something that you would normally pay cash for, pay it off every month, and you'll see that score improve and maintain.
And the third thing is just see where you're at.
See where you're at.
And it's, if you have home ownership on your agenda, if it's on your radar, reach out to somebody like Steve, fill out a loan application. Doesn't mean that you are going to buy a home this year even, but to be able to say, oh, where am I at? And then they can say, here's some things to work on.
Right.
Again, going back to that time I did a mortgage early on, there was some medical stuff I had no idea even existed, because, the websites don't always pull all that stuff up. Credit Karma, those things are a nice tool, but not incredibly accurate, not as deep as underwriters are going to look.
No, definitely not. And to your point, start as early as possible. I mean, it doesn't cost you anything. There's no obligation. If a bank or lender tells you they're going to charge you an application fee, they're going to charge you a consult fee, turn and run the other way.
Yeah.
I'm happy to do it for anyone that just wants to sit down and review, because if your goal is home ownership, my goal is to get you there.
This is brought to you by Klaus Team Real Estate Solutions. The Klaus Team is different. With the Klaus Team, you have someone on your side. Where you live and make memories is important. We have more unique strategies than anyone else to help you accomplish what matters most to you. We can help you with traditional real estate as well as other options such as our lease purchase programs. We can help you buy first then sell, and we can bring you instant offers. We're here to help our neighbors achieve the American dream and help them build wealth through home ownership. For more info or to start your home search, visit us online at klausteam.com.
So let's talk about the goal of home ownership and why we want to do that. There's non-financial reasons and there's financial reasons. So let's start with the non-financial. Why one of them is pride of ownership.
Oh, yeah.
Now, today we're actually in one of the properties that we have listed for sale, and this is in a community in Mesa that is known for pride of home ownership. People just take really good care of their homes. They've personalized it. I mean, looking around us, the cabinets, the everything is, she's redone. She's made it her own.
The landscaping is well done. It's a beautiful home.
Yeah, and this is one of the joys of being a homeowner. You can sometimes do this in a rental, but it's only going to benefit the landlord.
Yeah, let's not help them. No, make that payment on time, but there's no need, help.
So we can customize the space. We can put paint on the walls, any color that we want. I remember when my son was born, we did some Disney and Winnie the Pooh murals on the nursery wall. It was so much fun. No way that we could have done that in a rental.
Well, what's the other one that we always talk about? There's the pets.
The
homeowner here has a couple little pooches of her own, and a lot of times in a rental or apartment, you can't have that.
Or you have to put a deposit, or there's a limit.
Well, it's going to cost you extra, right?
I used to, one of my favorite dogs that I've had, well, also the dog I have right now is right at 50 pounds. Okay. She's a sweet dog, but the dog that was before her was a 130-pound Rottweiler, and there's no way I could have had Bobo in a rental.
Right.
And the 3 Ps: paint, parties, and pets.
Parties. Well. Parties, anyway, your neighbors might, even if you are a homeowner. But
well, you just invite them.
You just invite them. There you go.
It makes it easy.
Those are absolutely wonderful. I mean, those non-financials, that pride of ownership is a big deal. And then, of course, the financial piece, which always speaks to me, as you know. I mean, wealth is built primarily through home ownership.
Yes, there's a lot of people that have wealth in the U.S. that their wealth is built on other things. It might have been something that was handed down through the family for years. It might be other things, but most Americans, the biggest bulk of their net worth is being a homeowner.
Well, what's that one that we have in our buyer presentation? Is the net worth of the average renter is about $6,300?
$6,270.
$6,270, and the average homeowner is how much?
$254,900.
Over $250,000. That's what type of increase is that? 40 times?
40 times.
See the math guy? 40 times. But I mean, to be a homeowner, pay your mortgage, don't pay your landlord's mortgage.
Yeah, and I do have rental property, so I'm a landlord and I'm a homeowner.
Yeah, me as well.
And I pay my own mortgage.
Me too. Well, my wife does.
For the home I live in. The other ones, my renters pay my mortgage.
Same here.
And so it's while I'm happy to have those renters, I want home ownership for as many people that can have it. I don't know anybody that is a homeowner that says, man, I wish I had waited longer to become a homeowner.
Well, and neither have I. And a couple of whether you consider them financial or non-financial, they're kind of that gray area. I mean, our friends and family and the people that we've helped that are homeowners, stable housing payment.
That's a big one because
stable housing payment.
We know what our payment is going to be. We don't have to question if our housing payment is going to go up on the whim of a landlord.
Absolutely. And that helps you create wealth, not only through the appreciation and the value of your home going up. You now have a set budget. You know what that payment's going to be for the next 30 years, whatever the term of your loan is. So it kind of helps you set the budget for the rest of your life, depending on what your income is coming in. And as that increases, that payment's going to stay the same. So it really, it's a tremendous wealth builder through home ownership.
And we actually looked at this neighborhood and another neighborhood in a study and looked over 15 years and looked at what the people that bought at the 15-year, the beginning point were paying. And it was on average about $850 to $950 a month for their mortgage payment. Okay. And then we sped forward, looked at those exact same houses and what they were comping for on rents, and it was $1,900 a month. Over 15 years, that's the difference that it took. And so that person was living in a house for $850 to $950, but their neighbors who are renting were paying double.
Wow.
Double for the same place and not having the benefits of building equity and being able to do some. My friends that are homeowners, they've got some stable housing payments. They don't have pet deposits. And I've seen on social media that they have taken advantage of doing some new TikTok wall treatments. Some of them are quite interesting, not something that I would choose, but that's their thing. That's their personal choice.
Absolutely.
I've seen people build music studios. I'm a musician. I have a lot of musician friends. They built out entire music studios with soundproofing and acoustic foam and painting it black and all this kind of stuff.
You can do a theater room. You can
theater
do a
room.
kids' playroom. You can, the murals in the nursery for your young ones.
You can make the backyard your own personal oasis. You do that as a renter. You're putting in plants and taking care of plants that aren't your plants.
Well, over our long careers, I don't think that you or I have ever talked to any of our buyers after they bought a home that says, "Man, I wish I would have waited to become a homeowner."
Yeah.
I really, and again, it's not to pressure people.
How long did you wait
to become a homeowner? Well, I got out of college and I bought my first home within a year of graduating. So I was in my
and see, I wish I was 30 when I bought. It was a month before I turned 30 that I bought my first house, and I don't. It's one of those things that I've never even wanted to go and quantify how much more wealth I would have now if I had bought a home earlier. And we see a lot of people that do it in their 20s that they're not married yet. They buy a house, they get some roommates, and the big secret, if you're in that situation, by the way, and you are a roommate of somebody that owns the house, you are paying their mortgage.
that was me. That was my first house. I had 2 roommates. They helped me pay my mortgage. And it wasn't my dream home, my first home, but it was that stepping stone to my next, and then my next.
And what a lot of people will do is they'll just keep that one and as a rental and continue to let people pay off that mortgage.
I wish I would have learned earlier, but I sold and I stepped up to the next one. But then eventually when I became more educated on the value of being a homeowner to be able to be a landlord, again, it just opened up so many opportunities for me and to where I'm at today. But yeah, it was a fantastic tool to get me where I'm at today. And again, I encourage everyone that wants to become a homeowner, just reach out to somebody and take that first step.
So the first step, connect with a home guide as early as possible.
Yep.
There are a lot of real estate agents out there that only want to work with people that are ready to buy, which is fine.
Yeah.
At the Klaus team, we're happy to work with anybody wherever they are. We've had the privilege of walking people through a multi-year journey in some cases, where they said, "Hey, I want to be a homeowner," and then we find, well, there's some things on the credit, or we're not able to save up, or they get to the point of saving up, and then something drastic happens, and they take a few steps back. We're able to help them bring them forward and to walk with them. Nothing is cooler than that, and it's one of the best things about being a Klaus team agent is being able to walk people through that and get to the point where you're handing them the keys and you know that it's not just this 30 to 45 day window that you've worked alongside them, but years, and they are achieving the American dream. It's
Absolutely.
so cool.
It's awesome. It's a great feeling for me as well.
And we have partners like Steve that we're able to walk alongside people, help them, guide them along, and no matter where you are, we want to be your Sherpa. We want to be your guide. No matter what trailhead you're starting at, we're here to help you all along that. So it's never too early to give us a call and say, "Hey, I want to be a homeowner."
Right. And when you connect with the home guide, meeting with a trusted real estate advisor and a trusted lender, that home guide, what we're talking about is like, let's sit down, let's review your credit. Let's set you on that path, whether it's 6 months from now or 3 years from now. Let's get you on that path. That's, I'll go over things like budget, saving for the down payment, what we need to do to improve your credit score.
Help new habits. There's some tech tools that we can use.
Absolutely.
So those are the 3 things that you need to do for to get started in home ownership. To just reach out, just give us a call. 480-354-7344. You can get a hold of us and Steve by calling, or you can go to klausteam.com.
Excellent. Let's connect. Let's start preparing.